Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now let's start with the first story. It's called All the Way Home. At one point in my career, I worked for a major telecom. We did tech support for their voice over IP product. Their documentation was lacking and I worked in the escalation team. To make things easier for me, I built my own website with screenshots of the interface for their device, along with the command routers to explain what to do for analysts that called me. Mostly just to make life easier for me, but it was significantly better than their documentation, so many people used it to do their job. The company has a term-to-perm contract with the union that said if anyone was still employed after 3 years, the company had to make a permanent position available for them. I was nearing my 3 years, but was already planning to quit to go to college. One day I came in and was immediately called in to meet with the managers. They pulled the corporate playbook combo move. We did a random audit and found you used your computer for personal use. We are giving you a letter of warning for that. Sign here. We are giving you a personal review right now. If you have a letter of warning, the highest rating we can issue is needs improvement. So we are giving you that rating. Sign here. Your contract states if you need improvement at any time, you can be job completed. This isn't a termination, we are simply calling your contract complete early. Security will walk you out. So after they walked me out, I listened to happy music the whole drive home. Why, you ask? The documentation I created was on my own website, was not sanctioned by work, and as it was on my own website, it had proprietary information that I shouldn't have. But also that traffic didn't benefit me, as I was no longer employed. So naturally, I took the whole website down. From the start, I had configured the whole site to force refreshes anytime the page is loaded, so they couldn't use cached data. I got calls from my coworkers that night that suddenly the entire department had no idea how to do their job. The next story is called Won't Let Me Do My Job. I worked in a feed testing lab for years getting through college. We used a fancy machine to look at the nutrient profile of animal feed. In the 4 years I worked there, I picked up some pretty handy skills, like calibrating this $100,000 machine. I had to leave that job for part of my education and choose not to go back after that semester due to it being 20 plus miles away in another town. So I took a similar lab job at a local milk processing plant. After the initial training on all of the equipment, I started working on a huge backlog of moisture samples on a very similar machine to what I ran at the feed lab. My manager, literally my age, same university, graduated at the same time, we even took classes together, even went as far as reminding me that this is why I was hired. Once a month we had to calibrate, so I ran the appropriate tests and started the calibration process. My manager, who had never worked in the lab, starts berating me that I'm doing it wrong. In a rather loud, the plant manager used the term unprofessional discussion, I warned her I would have no part of the blame for this bad calibration. Then she began insulting my education. A lowly AG degree versus her biology degree, etc. Okay boss, we'll do it your way. And we did until I left 2 months later to use my degree. I found out after I left that there was a huge recall of millions of pounds of product because of a moisture issue. It's almost like somebody warned them. The third story is called I Will Never Fly With You Again. This occurred in the mid-1990s. I was working the ticket counter for TWA in a small city. We were delayed for weather, and a passenger who flew every week was furious because he would miss his connection. He didn't have any options that evening. He was on our last flight and the last connecting flight for an early morning meeting the next day. He's doing the usual yelling, cursing, slamming his hand on the counter, etc. because that always works. Right? After he was done screaming, he demanded scissors. I had a good idea what he was going to do after threatening that he would never fly with us again. He had acted this way numerous times before if his flights were even slightly delayed. The supervisor didn't catch on and told me no, but I gave him the scissors anyway. He chopped up his frequent flyer card, threw the pieces at us, slammed the scissors down and stormed off. This guy was a top tier customer who had a few 100,000 miles in his account. Considering what he had just done and said, I picked up the pieces and called the frequent flyer desk reps for his tier level, explained who I was and what just occurred. His account had enough history of his behavior that they asked me to send them the pieces and a statement from myself and my supervisor. The following week, the guy shows up to fly out. During the process of checking him in, we discover his account isn't associated with his reservation. After some poking around, I found out his account has been cancelled and his miles removed. When I explained this, I thought he was going to have a stroke. And while he was throwing his fit, he demanded to see the manager. The manager, of course, already knew what occurred and told him there's nothing we can do. He stormed off and flew another airline, and probably never flew with us after that. The last story is called Humiliate Them into Competence. My dad works for an employee-owned civil construction company. They make water processing plants among other public utility buildings. Contracts can range from $10 to $50 million and more after expenses. They spend the vast majority of the budget on materials. Again, millions of dollars. One company they get parts from is their main supplier of pipes and plumbing doohickeys. They spend about a third of the budget with them, specifically in water treatment plants. He has even received awards for being one of the top 5 customers. 2 years ago, it was a fire hydrant cookie jar, which he found hilarious. This particular job was on the East Coast in a state where my dad has yet to work. As such, he goes to the office personally to meet these people. On principle, mind you. He's just that type of guy. He meets most of the staff. What he didn't know was that one lady was out that day, her day off. Eventually, the budget has been worked out and the structural base has been mostly completed. So my dad calls the suppliers to place his order. He gets the one lady he didn't get to meet. So the conversation goes a bit like this. Hello, this is Dad. I need to order some parts. Of course. Do you have an account with us? Yes, this construction company. The lady types a bit. I'm sorry, but I don't see an account for this construction company. Yes, we do. Could you please check again? I'm afraid we don't have an account for this construction company. Now, it's important to note that my dad doesn't take stuff like this. And he knows he didn't recheck because he couldn't hear her rather loud keyboard typing. And to create an account required a credit history check, which can take 5 to 10 business days to get done. This company, my dad included, wants a tight ship, so this is entirely unacceptable. Look, can I speak with the owner? I met him yesterday and I would like to clear this up quickly. I'm afraid the owner is unavailable right now. I could create an account for you if you'd like. Look, I need to buy $70,000 of prep materials and I need them by next week. Please try again to find our account. This construction company is one of your top clients, and if you ask me to create a new account, I will go elsewhere. The lady, still not trying again, says, I apologize for the inconvenience. If you feel that you could get better service elsewhere, then you are free to do so. My dad immediately hung up, fuming. He had to take 2 more days and $10,000 more, but he got the parts on time. He then came into the office a week later, passed by the front desk and knocked on the owner's door. Sir, you can't be back here. Wouldn't you know it, it was the lady from before. My dad just waited, and when the owner opened the door, he greeted Dad like an old friend. After explaining the situation, the owner immediately called the lady in, calmly berated her, and showed her exactly how to find this construction company in the future. My dad isn't someone to get people fired. Better to humiliate them into competence. The owner then called corporate, who authorized a 10% discount on piping as an apology. This contract had a piping budget of $9 million, so that discount went straight to profits. As a stockholder, that goes to my dad's pockets as well. He never had a problem before nor since. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.